takes a while to get us going. Okay, so I see people joining again. Thank you so much. We're going to get started now. I had a little bit of a technical difficulty. I just want to explain to everyone that Jen Kanoff, our founder and president, had her second Moderna shot today, which is fantastic news. However, she's really not feeling very well. So I'm taking her place, and I am Julie LaRosa. I'm the executive producer here at the Reed Charitable Foundation. And I'm really excited tonight to have Dr. Robinson. So I met Dr. Robinson virtually last summer when he granted us an interview when, you know, we were just a tiny little charitable organization, and he really lent us his voice in a powerful way that changed really the direction of our foundation in a pretty profound way. And we knew that at some point we wanted to have him here. And eventually we'll get him to Orlando, but tonight I'm really excited that he's with us. So we're kind of friends now, but I would like to introduce your credentials, if that's okay, just for everybody listening so that they can hear all of the stuff that you've done. And for everybody, I'm dyslexic and I'm about to read out loud, so everyone bear with me as I go through Dr. Robinson's long list of accolades. So Dr. Robinson is a full-time reading faculty member at Madison College, a senior research associate in the Wisconsin's Equity and Inclusion Laboratory at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. He serves on the board of directors with the International Dyslexia Association. Dr. Robinson graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh with a bachelor's degree in science and human services. He has a master's in education from DePaul University, and he has a PhD in language and literacy from Cardinal Stritch University. He also has over 40 publications and has received several distinguished honors throughout his career. And he is also the co-author, along with his wife, of the wildly popular graphic novel, Dr. Dyslexia Dude, which he has graciously, we've been going around Orlando distributing to all of our schools, and the kids are really excited about this. So that's the long list of everything that Dr. Robinson has accomplished thus far in his academic life. And I think what you'll find so interesting is what he's accomplished in his personal life. So welcome, Dr. Robinson.
Thank you.
Good friend.
Thank you. My kids' toys are all over the place. So everywhere I look, there's kids' toys. So, you know.
Awesome. I've got a bunch laying around here too. So Dr. Robinson, when we interview people at RCF, we always ask one question to everybody. And that first question is, what is dyslexia? And some people give us a real standard scientific definition, and other people give us a, you know, what is dyslexia to you? So I'm going to ask it in the non-scientific format. What is dyslexia to you? How do you explain it and define it?
To me, I think like a construction worker, right? To me, when I was young, I had a difficult time putting things together, taking things apart, like building words, and particularly either at the sound level or even at just the whole language level. And so I was unable to connect and put the pieces of the puzzle together to really have any skills to word attack, decode, which then, you know, ultimately goes into my vocabulary and then morphology. So I had no really understanding of how the sound structure really worked in reference to the construction work of building things and taking things apart in terms of decoding and encoding. And so I guess to me, that's the simplest way that I try to explain to adult learners I work with is like, you know, you're a construction worker, you have some limitations, but it's okay. We're going to start building, deconstructing stuff, and then we're going to start working together with sounds and symbols. And, you know, even with comprehension, there's a lot of variables that go into it. And so for me, you know, once I learned to read, I think the biggest thing was my motivation. I was motivated to want to learn, not just learning to read, but also reading to learn too. And so that's where all the other things came in the factor, background knowledge and just reading strategy skills. But really, to my own experience with dyslexia was at the root was the word identification and decoding. Like I had no really understanding of what I was seeing or what I was trying to enunciate when I was looking at words until I had a professor that taught me, you know, how to crack the code. So once he taught me how to crack the code, it was pretty much it. It was on. I mean, I just became a sponge and became a consumer of education.
So let's go back to some of those earlier years. I think it's incredible how many years, 18 years, that the educational system failed you. And I wanted, if you don't mind, to talk a little bit about that, because I think a lot of our viewers are in that right now with their children and kind of what that looked like for you.
You know, when I was young, I was very angry. Probably going through a lot of identity issues too, given the fact that I came from a biracial, my mother's white and my father's African American, and probably growing up without a father around too. There's that stigma that Black kids don't have fathers, and so at the time when I was young, it was hard growing up, because I had that, and then my mom had moved me to a predominantly white neighborhood. When then I felt like I was the other based on how I looked, but then the biggest factor was the fact that I was really unable to read. And so everything was like coming together on me. And then it was like a volcano ready to explode. I was just like a walking time bomb, just ticking, because I had so many things pulling me in different directions. But I think the biggest one was the fact that I just didn't know how to read. And so, throughout elementary, middle school, I just avoided reading anything I could do. Disrespectful behaviors, cursing at teachers, picking fights with kids, picking my nose to a bleed even though it didn't itch. Like I would do things just to try to get out of class. I would burp out loud, anything I could do to get out, because I knew inside I was burning up. And anytime like the teacher was getting close to call on me, my blood pressure would just get like skyrocket. It was just like, and so my easiest way for me was just to, find myself getting out of those situations to avoid it at all costs. But I guess at the end of the day, it really hurt me because I was removed from class so many times. And then it just really spiraled into high school. But I had some great teachers though. Particularly in high school, like I had some fascinating teachers that I still talk to 20 years later. And so, with the whole social, emotional aspect of learning for students, particularly with dyslexia, I had a coach that really took a chance with me. He kind of took me under his wings. A couple coaches did, and he said to me, by the time you're 18, you're going to be dead or you're going to be in jail. He's like, you have so much anger in you. He's like, well, I want to try one more thing. And I said, okay. He's tried multiple things to get me involved with either sports or some sort of activity, and nothing was working. And then he just said, I'm going to try one more thing. He said, I want you to be a coach for Special Olympics. And this was my sophomore year of high school in '94. And I've been involved ever since. So I've been involved with Special Olympics over 20 years now. And so, he found a place for me within the school context that I felt like I had a voice, and I felt like I was part of the community. Even though I still couldn't read, I still struggled academically, I started to, really love myself, and I started to really, develop leadership skills that I didn't know I had, because, I was just full of anger. And then my sophomore year, I got removed from the regular high school setting and sent to the alternative program for 2 years. Where again, I had some fascinating teachers, like ones who I just love and respect. I'm not sure if they're listening, Mr. Brosky, Ms. Theodore, Mr. Catania, Mr. Ottaviano, Mrs. Pearson. Like I just had so many great teachers that really just poured love into me, even though I was still unable to read and I was still venting for help. They were figuring out other ways to allow me to love myself, to allow me to develop the skills I needed just to get through high school. And so, really, it was my mother who found the Dr. Nash for me when I was going into my junior year. My high school counselor told my mother that I'll never be successful. She said that college was not an option for me. And my mom was like, no, my son's going to school. Like, he's going to be somebody. And so she was at a beauty salon getting her hair done, and she overheard some other women talking about a university that works with adult age learners with dyslexia, and how there was a long waiting list, like 2 or 3 years. So she called the professor and said, hey, I need some help. My son has something, I don't know what it is, something going on. I need to figure out the root cause of it. So he said, come on, drive up. And so we're driving to Oshkosh and in a blizzard, and I'm kicking and screaming and acting immature, and my mom's probably up to here with me, and So she stops and calls Dr. Nash, and she was like, between my son throwing a temper tantrum, at 17, and yeah, I was throwing a temper tantrum. I made it. And the snowstorm, we're gonna stop and turn around and go home. And Dr. Nash was like, no snowstorm should stop you from getting your education. So Mom was like, well, we gotta go. So we get there, and he pulls me in, and he gives me some assessments from the Woodcock-Johnson, some subtest of. So he asked me to spell and read some sight words, and one of the words that I remember today, he asked me to spell cane. I was like, yeah, easy, K-A-N. So he asked me to do some other words, comes back to the same one, asked me to spell it again, so I spelled it again, and then pretty much he sums up and says, you're one of the most dyslexic, illiterate kids.
A lot of love coming your way right now, Dr. Robinson. I think we all feel it.
So he told me I was one of the most illiterate kids he ever saw work with, and he said I had a gift to give to the world, and he said that he was going to make sure that he taught me how to read, and he told me it would be a lot of work, and so he accepted me into his he accepted me into his college program for adult learners with dyslexia. And so after I graduated high school, I started in his 8-week remedial program. But one of the expectations was, well, prior to that, even though he accepted me to his program, it didn't guarantee I would accept him to university still. I still have to go through the paperwork and process. And so my mother did all my applications for me because I was too illiterate to do it. She did my FAFSA form, my college essay. She pretty much did my entire application for me. And so finally I got my letter of acceptance to the university. But one of the requirements for the summer program is 8 weeks, very intense remedial program that if you did not get a certain grade, or if you didn't pass, you were not allowed to continue into the fall semester. So it was kind of, a weeding out process in a way. And so my first couple weeks, I was scared. I was immature. I was still taking the same behaviors that I took with me to high school, to college. It was a new environment. So, I wanted to act like I was cool, it's just part of life, and so I had some great cohort members that I still keep in contact with that were in the same summer program. But I had an upperclassman, Becca, and she pretty much chewed me out. Like, she pulled me to the side and was like, look, get your stuff together or go home. Like, she's like, I've worked too hard to get to this point in my life. And she was a upperclassman. She was tutoring and helping us, the younger class. And she's like, if you don't want to be here, just go, like, leave. Like, don't waste your time and don't waste my time. But she said it a little more different tone. Like, that I can't say it live on Facebook. So, but she was, it came from a place of love. Like, it was a place of love. It wasn't a place of, of despite her anger. And so then, at that point, I started having people, funnel love into me. I had some great professors that just, and great colleagues, and just kept, planting the seed in me. And it took me 6 years to get my my undergrad degree, and I had a lot of professors that I really respected, and some that failed me and told me that college was another option for me, and told me that I had to do something different. Like I heard that a lot, not just in the K-12 system, but also in higher education, undergrad. And so, 6 years, I was able to get my ability level up. I was still, behind, but then I went on and got a master's, and that took 5 years. So I was in school 11 straight years after high school. And then I said to myself, I want more education because I want to be able to help kids like myself. And so I went on and enrolled in a PhD program. And I had a disadvantage because most of my background knowledge was not in teacher education. It was real lived life experiences. And so I came with that, and I found myself sitting in a program that was full of whole language. And so every time I tried to speak or advocate about what students need, I got some pushback from a lot of faculty members. And in fact, I had two faculty members that actually failed me in my PhD program, and they tried to discourage me to continue. You have Dr. Strop and Dr. I forgot the name, but yeah, I'm gonna call them out. Like, yeah, they failed me, and they told me that I needed to do something else. And Dr. Terry, that's it. Yeah, I didn't forget. So yeah, they failed me, and they told me that I needed to do something else. And that I was not the fit for a PhD program. And so I told them they didn't know who I was, and I told them, you're not gonna define my character or define my goals and vision. So I came back and took their class again, and I passed. And it took me 7 years to get my my PhD. So I was in school 18 plus years after high school, 18 long years. And so a lot of people think about like the iceberg, right? You only see what's on top, like the successes and the accomplishments and the accolades, but people don't really know what's at the bottom of the surface, and the pain and the psychological damage that people go through to get to where they're at, particularly ones in special ed and that who have a learning disability. And so I think all my failures have really made me who I am today. Really, all my experiences, but really, I, I tell people would it be who I am today, and where I'm at in my just in my own personal life, in my career. If it wasn't really for if it wasn't for Dr. Nash, I wouldn't be. I had a lot of great teachers, a lot of great faculty members, but he was the one that opened the door for me to earn everything that I've earned. And it really, he's the one that he's the one that just gave me hope. He taught me how to read, and then he became a mentor, big brother, father figure to me. And then right before he passed away in 2017, a lot of people were calling his wife and asking who he was gonna turn over his curriculum to, because a lot of people just saw money. They saw, they wanted to take it and change the name of it and make a profit off it. And all the students that he's worked with. I mean, he started this program in 1978, 79 with 5 students, and now it serves over 100,000 students. It still existed, it still goes. And of all the students that he that he touched or changed their lives, he signed over his work to me. And, you know, and to me, it is a honor, but also at the same time, it's kind of scary because, you know, here's a man that, you know, changed countless of lives, and, you know, all the people that he came in contact with, you know, either former students that he's seen, and or even colleagues that, you know, might have worked with him who also wanted it. You know, he signed it over to me and said, "It's your turn to continue my legacy." So, you know, I feel honored and privileged that you know, he's selected me, and I know I have a lot to learn and do, and so I'm just thankful for the opportunities that you know, that not just him but other people paved the way for me to get here, because I really want to be here without, you know, just not him, but, you know, Mike Flanagan and another professor of mine, Dr. Kitts. You know, he studied under Dr. Nash too, and Dr. Kitts is he's an angel. Like when I was struggling in my PhD program with these classes, he literally bought almost every book that I had in my class, and he literally like tutored me throughout the entire 7 years, and he was one of my professors from my undergrad, and you know, literally he got a second PhD because he was like, "Look, we're gonna get through this. I'm gonna make sure that you are equipped with the knowledge that you need to get through." And so once I became a sponge and absorbed that knowledge, I just saw myself being a bull. Like I was just like knocking down doors. Like I didn't really care about if people like me or not. You know, I'm not in it for friends. Like I'm not in it if you. I'm in it to try to change lives and give kids hope. And, you know, if you're gonna stand in the way, then I'll just go around you. Like because most importantly is you know, kids. You know, gotta give them hope. And even my two boys, you know, before my oldest son was born, when he was still in the womb, I was reading Dr. Nash's work to him, the sound. So now my son gets 100% on all his spelling tests, and he's only in first grade. Like he's only missed one. He got an 85%, but now he's good at spelling and can read. And so I just want to make sure that, you know, not just my kids, but kids, you know, globally have access and have hope, if that makes sense. I'm gonna be quiet. I'm done talking now. I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna let my teddy bear
Please, please do not be quiet. Thank you so much. I know, unfortunately, your story is common. You know, I think that a lot of people listening can relate to that, and a lot of children can relate to that. And I just thank you so much for bringing that to us and sharing it with us. I know how much Dr. Nash really meant to you, so it's just so powerful. Dr. Sean, so powerful.
Oh, thank you.
So powerful. I'm wondering too, what it, you know, for Jen and I were saying, we were so struck that for the same number of years that the school system failed you, 18 years, you then took another 18 years to achieve what you achieved. And I'm curious, after all those feelings of failure for those 18 years, what did it feel like when you started having some success academically? What did that feel like to you?
That I was capable and able to do anything that I put my mind to. And, you know, I don't know, I just became a sponge, and I just absorbed. I listened a lot, and then once I became knowledgeable of things, and I started, you know, being able to relate to them, my own personal experience, then I started finding my voice. And then sometimes that scares people. You know, a lot of people don't like somebody who's liberated and conscious and can ask specific questions. And so it allowed me to certain rooms that probably I would not have been able to be in, you know, that predominantly, you know, white male dominant. And so I was able to find myself in certain places where I had a voice and I was going to use it. And I didn't really care what people thought when I said it, because I was speaking my truth, and I was speaking about the pain that I experienced or the pain that I see other kids going through. So I don't know, I just love to learn. Like I read, I write still. And so you know, it just, I don't know, open the door, open the gift. It allowed me just to really find myself, seeing myself differently, looking in the mirror and saying, you know what, I love myself. I can do this. I'm able to do this. And so then every little success, I celebrate, and so even if it's a B on the paper, I'm celebrating. At that point, if it was a C on the paper, hey, I'll take a C over F, because I was getting S, right? D. So hey, every little milestone, I just counted as my blessings, and I just kept moving forward. And I knew that one area that I always struggled in, even when I got into my PhD program, was writing. So I had to find writing tutors. Like, I spent countless hours, weekends, nights, staying up, finding retired professors that were willing to help me if I put the time in. And so I just, I did what I had to do to order to get to where I'm at. And so it took a lot of hard work, a lot of patience, and a lot of failure. Like, I'm human, I'm not perfect. I don't try to ever come off as being perfect. I don't try to come off as knowing everything either. I just live this life that I've been given to the best way I can, and keep moving. I don't know if that answers your question or not.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to go back to talking about entering these rooms. When you and I were talking in the past, we talked about you kind of having a seat at the table, so to speak, that there are these organizations of people that are making decisions about education and making decisions about, dyslexics and how we're taught or not taught, and that you got access to that. You got a seat at the table, and I'm curious what's happening at these tables that we should know about.
Egos. I mean, egos. Even the teddy bear says egos. It's all egos. It's so sad, because at the end of the day, it's really we're missing generations of kids that have opportunity to just flourish, like just blossom and tap into their true gifts, and be able to give to the world, give to their communities. And they can't do that when you have adults fighting over what curriculum to use. It's like, really, people? Like, come on. We're adults. We can be able to agree to disagree, and vice versa. But we know what works for students with dyslexia. So why so much pushback? Egos, politics, money, who knows? I mean, I don't have the answers, but again, that's just my own personal experience. I'll probably get fired tomorrow for saying that. It's okay. I got a little teddy bear that I can hug. But it just goes back to egos. Like, really, I'm sure I can't speak for anybody. I don't speak for anybody else. I can't generalize my experiences. All that can make a hypothesis or assumptions. I imagine that other parents will probably feel the same way. It's egos, politics, and money that are destroying our kids, and we're pretty much essentially funding failure. Like, year after year, they keep talking about the same thing. It's like, why are we as taxpayers paying for this when it's not working and it's broken? Like, I don't want to pay for something broken. Let's pay for something we can fix. And so it's just egos. I don't know if that helps answer your question or not.
Yes, thank you. Well said. So I know a lot of your work at present is on African-American boys and literacy, and even adult males. Would you want to talk a little bit about that too?
Well, I mean, I think, my own life experiences really motivated me to learn more about the intersectionality of race and dyslexia, but also giftedness too. And so when I started reading the literature on dyslexia, I was like, wait, there's no really aspects of race in it, particularly within the context of African Americans. And so then I had met a colleague by the name of Dr. Ford, who's a leading researcher on giftedness. And so I started reading some of her work and speaking with her about just giftedness. And I started seeing myself in that light. And I was like, wait, this makes sense. I have leadership capabilities. I have some specific academic abilities. I have dyslexia, quite exceptional. And then I'm also a person of color too, Black. And so it all started like making sense to me as I put it together, how my identity has been shaped throughout my experiences. And so I wanted to try to bring that to the light, to education about, students living at the intersection of race, dyslexia, giftedness. And then the work I do at the community college, I work with all adults, adult age learners. ones who are diagnosed with dyslexia, who are considered ESL, a variety of students. And I do the same thing Dr. Nash started, I do at the community college. So actually they hired me to pretty much do the same thing, but at the community college level. So accessibility, like, right? A lot of these adults are pretty low functioning. And so we've collaborated with a colleague at the University of Memphis who has a assessment that he developed that's funded by IES, and so allows me to do a pre and post test with the adult learners. And so at the end of the semester, I'll post test and see where they've grown in the areas, but pretty much the same thing as Dr. Nash did. You know, old school Orton Gillingham multi-sensory instruction. If you think about the reading rope, you know, the lower levels, that's pretty much what I focus on. Word recognition, decoding, and so vocabulary, morphology. So I don't know, I just, you know, it feels good to be able to give back, you know, to people, and particularly in this role, this context of, you know, college age adult learners. So, and then even with the, you know, African American males, you know, students, you know, I was reading a lot of literature, and I was finding myself in it, you know, identified as at risk, EBD, you know, animals, you know, descriptive words that define. And I was like, wait, that was me. I was in those self-contained classes. I had an IEP. I was seen as at risk. I was on Ritalin. And I was like, it's time to flip the script. It's time to change the narrative, not just for students with dyslexia, but students who look like me. Let them know that, you know, special education is not the end all. Like, it's not the, you know, the last place for you to go. But unfortunately, we know that if students don't have a voice, or if the parents feel like they don't have any hope and the district is resistant to them, they might just give up. And then what? The students kind of stuck in that box, in that dark place, you know, for the rest of their, you know, K-12 system. And then afterwards, we don't know what's going to happen. You know, it could be the prison, the pipeline. It could be mental health. It could be, you know, addiction. Like, we don't know how people are going to turn out, but we know that that other path leads to self-destruction, one way or the other. And so I just wanted to figure out how I could bring a voice to an area that didn't really have a voice. And so I just put my head down and did my work and listened to, you know, my colleagues and mentors, and just try to do good. I don't know if that helps answer your question.
Yeah, I'm wondering, what advice do you have for you know, people in the community that want to, you know, help all students with dyslexia the way RCF does?
You know, one of my my great professors from my master's program, Dr. Sylvester, he said we should never give advice to people, because if I give you advice and it doesn't work for you, you'll be like, man, that doctor's a chump, man. I can't listen to him, right? I mean, it's the facts. So
I won't do that to you.
That's right. I just tell people, you got to find what's best in your heart. Like, you got to follow your instincts, and you got to really do what's best for your current situation, because what works for me may or may not work for you, and vice versa. And so, but within the context of this whole dyslexia, you know, advocacy, we just got to do what's best for the kids. We know it works, and so we just got to keep advocating that, and keep pushing down walls, and like the little train, choo choo. We just got to keep moving. We got to do what's best, and keep the kids at the front, because I think a lot of people miss that, and when they think about other things, we miss the mark. And so, you know, not advice, but, you know, just follow your heart. You're gonna know what's best for you as a mom, as a dad, as a legal guardian, you know, whatever role you play, you're gonna know what's best for your kid. You're gonna know what's best for that current situation. And if you don't know what's best, I believe that you can find people that can help you navigate that space too. And so it's really just building relationships, and building partnerships, and finding the right people, because not everyone out there has the same motives, and not everyone has the same agenda, and not everyone has a good spirit. So you got to be careful about who you trust and who you open up to, because there's a lot of demonic spirits out there, and so you just gotta be careful. You don't know who you opening up to and how they're gonna take advantage of you. Or right now you get a lot of pop up people who are now experts. They just come out of nowhere and say, "Yeah, I'm an expert now," and they're charging parents thousands of dollars, for 1 hour session, and the parents are asking for maybe recommendations or see some, evaluations or see some progress. They're like, "Oh, we don't show that." Well, I mean, you got to show something if you pay that kind of money. So I just tell parents, man, just be careful what you do. I know a lot of parents are not, people like to rely on parents who are desperate. They're not saying desperate in the wrong way. They want help. They want their kids to be successful. They want the kids to feel like they're somebody. They want their kids to feel like they are accepted into the school system. They want the best for their kids. And so, of course, they're going to do what they need to do. And there's a lot of people out there that they'll take advantage of parents because they're vulnerable in that sense. And so, parents just got to be careful. They just got to, follow their heart, follow their instinct. If something doesn't feel right, just pull out. Be like, okay, what? No, thank you. I'm going to do something else. Do my research. I'm going to look around. I'm going to talk to my friend. I'm going to make some calls. And so, I don't know if that helps or not.
Yeah. Oh, it was really good advice. I hate to say it, but that's great advice.
No,
I won't hold you to it.
Right.
I won't hold you to it. It's not advice. Recommendations. We won't call it advice. So I wanted to ask you a question about trauma. So dyslexia, being an unidentified dyslexic child in a classroom, comes with its own trauma. What happens when a child is bringing trauma into the classroom, whether that be from a violent household, community, food insecurity, housing insecurity, any number of things that are affecting our children in this country today? How does that add to the dyslexia piece, and what are some things to look for if you're an educator or a community member?
I mean, I can't speak to that with authority. I only can share my own experiences. It has a lot. Like, environment plays a big factor in students, well-being. If they get some good sleep, if they eat, like if they're nourished, like there's a lot of things. If they come from an abusive home, maybe their parents are alcoholics, like we don't know. Like, but yeah, all that stuff plays a major part in students' development. Like, they might come to class and be completely checked out, or they might come to class and vent. Like, we don't know how they're gonna respond. And everyone responds differently, but I think, from just my own experiences in life itself, we have to be good listeners. Like, we have to really understand where students are coming from and be able to not take it personal. Because I know sometimes when I was younger, I took things personal, right? If I'm trying to help a kid and they might have come from a background that's full of trauma, and I'd be like, venting or taking it out, and I'm like, wait, it's not about me. This is about helping that kid, and this is not about Sean. It's not about my feelings, not about my emotions. It's about understanding that student and where they're at and how I can help them. So I just think it's really about being a helper, right? Just like figuring out, if the student, needs a food, like how can we get them connected to a food bank, or how can we connect them to maybe therapy or a therapist or counseling? Like, what role can I play to build bridges for them to get the service they need outside of the classroom? Because, as a good mentor told me once, as an educator, I can only control what's in the four walls. I have no control what happens after the kid leaves from school. So I want to make this environment the place where they feel the most welcomed, where they feel loved, and they feel like they are successful. Hopefully that would, trickle out into their home environment too. And so I just think really just providing opportunities, access, and being a good helper and listener, really, if that helps.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mr. Petty? What do you think? I think it's okay.
He agrees. So let's talk about Dr. Dyslexia Dude. When did you get these superpowers? And I'm thinking about your journey, and you've taken what is classified, that's not how I classify it, or at Reed Foundation classifies it, but seen as a disability, and you've turned it into the superpower. So why did you decide to do that? What's your superpower? Tell us about this novel.
I don't know. I just think people in the academy a lot of times just think about serving people in the academy, right? They think about, peer-reviewed journals and, trying to sound intellectual and all this, and you know, so it was like, wait a second, the people that I want to reach the most, they're not reading my journal articles, they're not going to read my book chapters. Like, that stuff's not really relevant. That's just for people in that space. And so I was like, I got to think innovative, I got to think creative, and that's a part of, you know, I think the whole gifted piece, and even my dyslexia thing, thinking outside the box. And so I was like, how can I take the work I've done and make it more accessible? So I had a conversation with my wife, and I was like, hey, we got to do something that's going to really potentially have an impact on kids. And she's like, what do you want to do? And I said, let's think about writing a comic book or a graphic novel. And we didn't know how, or, you know, what the response was going to be. And we just took a leap of faith and put the first one out in 2018. And we didn't think it was going to be received so well. And so, you know, I think the process of going through it just took a lot of creativity and innovative thinking, and between my wife and myself, and just, that's really about it, I guess. You know, it's just trying to do something different versus same old, you know, academic peer review journal articles that probably no one ever is going to read besides people in the academy. And I was like, wait, I got to find something that's going to, you know, be more relatable to kids. And so we actually just finished book number 3, but that's all I can say right now. I can't say anything.
Oh, that's exciting. My kids are hanging on the edge. They want to know about 3.
Yes. And so my wife actually just finished it. And so we're going to send it out to a couple of my colleagues, beta readers, to make sure that it's accurate. And then we're going to send it to my illustrator sometime beginning of May. So it's a process, you know. To do anything good, it takes time. And so you just can't put something out there. Well, you can. I mean, we could have put something out there, but we want to make sure that it reflects accurately, not just my experience, but students with dyslexia too. But I never thought in my life I would be a published author. Like, if you asked me 30 years ago, I'd probably tell you a joke and tell you something else that was not appropriate, but I would never in my lifetime thought I would be able to say that I'm not just a author in terms of, you know, in the academy, but also a children's book author too. Like, I would, yeah, that's all through the grace of God. Like, it's all his doing. I'm just a messenger. I'm just on this ride for the journey, you know. And actually, in fact, you see that plaque behind you right there?
Yes.
So the same high school that kicked me out in 2017, they inducted me into the high school Hall of Honor. So my plaque is on the school wall. I got one, but that kind of reminds me of where I've been and where I'm going. So I always keep that up as a reminder of who I am, because I can never forget about my roots and about, you know, the people that helped me and the trauma and you know, just the trials and tribulations, and, you know, the naysayers and the people who supported me, all that stuff. Like, so every time I see it, it just reminds me of you know, where I've come from. So I'm always grateful to, you know, God. I'm also thankful to everyone in my path ahead of me that's opened up the gates for me to get to where I'm at. And so I'm just blessed. I don't know if that helps or not. I'll be quiet though. Enough me talking.
No.
I'm sick. I'll be quiet.
No quiet from you. That's really cool. I love that back there. So I'm wondering what advice you have for other dyslexics right now that maybe are going through what you went through. I know you don't like to give advice, but maybe suggestions, some helpful hints or encouragement. Let's call it encouragement.
You know, again, everyone experiences are different. Our journeys are all different. You know, what works for somebody might not work for the other. But I think the common thing is that we have to love ourselves, right? Like, we can't. It's hard when I say we. I start with myself first, because I did take things personal when I was younger, and I always asked, why me, why me, why me? You know, and I was like, you know, this is awful. You know, I even had suicide thoughts. Like, so I think the biggest thing is encouragement. Like, we just got to keep encouraging students to know that, you know, it can work out. We just got to give them the right services and effective instruction to allow them to feel good about themselves. And then once they feel good about themselves, they'll just latch on, they'll just take off, and they'll just ride, they'll just go, they'll soar, you know, just so I think, you know, as students, we can never throw in the towel. We can't be at the side of the ring and throwing the towel because we never know how close we get to our blessing. We never know what's next if we stop and we quit. And I'm speaking from my own personal experiences. There's a lot of times that I quit on things, and I look back and I say, what if, you know, shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? Like, but you know, now I would never throw in the towel ever, and so. You know, it's just really having that perseverance, that will, the want, you know, and you got to go for it. You just got to go for it. And if you fall, you fall. If you fail, you fail. But at least you know that you did it with a good heart and good conscience, and you tried your best versus not trying at all. And so, you know, it's like track and field. You do the hurdle jump, right? You might get over some. You might knock some over, you might fall on your face, but you gotta get up and you just gotta keep going. You just gotta keep moving. That's the, you know, best way I can explain it is that, you know, everyone's wired different, but as long as we have faith in ourselves and people have faith in us, we just move. We just keep moving. Dodge and weave like boxing, you know, just gotta keep moving. I know it's probably sounds cliche and you know, but really it's just, you got to love yourself, you know. In those 18 years that I was in after school, after high school, a lot of times I wanted to give up. There was a lot of times I was like, you know what, I'm done. I quit. I can't do this. I will make this. But then that little bird on the side of my shoulder was like, no, you're gonna keep going. You're gonna do it. And then that little bird turned into my mother. It turned into, you know, my high school teachers. Turned into my college professors. Turned into, you know, my college friends, my fraternity brothers, and then it just the circle kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So now I was like, you know what, I got to move. I got to keep going. I got to, you know, make sacrifices. And I had to make a lot of sacrifices to get to where I'm at. Nothing came easy. So I had to use, you know, tutors, academic support services, disability services, writing specialists, math specialists. Like I had to use everything I could to get where I'm at today. And so I had to just, you know, stay the course. Does that help?
Yeah.
I don't know if that helps or not.
Yeah, very well said. Thank you. So I saw just a couple of questions come through, so I wanted to ask one of them. You know, one of the things that the Reach Charitable Foundation is trying to do is get into colleges of education and just, you know, find out, you know, how we get teachers before they exit the university setting. How do we get them trained in Norton Gillingham? And I'm kind of wondering from your perspective as someone who's in that academic world, one of the questions is, you know, how do we do that? You know, what's the best route?
Yeah, you know, if I had a magic wand, I think we'd be millionaires. You know, it's a hard it's a hard one, right? Because we know there's a lot of resistance. You know, a lot of the most of the universities are whole language based, and you know, I don't know, patience. You got to have a lot of faith. You got to be patient that, you know, the work that you do won't go in vain, and you might not reap the benefits now, but maybe in another lifetime, you know, maybe generations from now, you know, some kid and some teacher might reap that benefit. And so I think being okay with knowing that your fight, you know, may continue even after you leave this earth. And so I don't know, you just gotta be patient. You gotta find the right partners, be strategic, I guess. You know, if it's not you know, K-12 teachers, why not human services majors, right? Social workers, counselors, like, you know, find other tracks to get traction, like community colleges. They have 2-year programs that, you know, for early education majors. Go to the community colleges, like be innovative, be creative. Like if 4-year institutions are closing doors on you, like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna find somebody else that's willing to partner. And you think about this, community colleges are like a gold mine, right? They really are like the fabric flow of our community. Like, so why not partner with the early childhood education department at a community college? 2 years, get these teachers trained at the community college. When they get out after 2 years, they're going to be more equipped than the 4-year teachers are, right? And so then if they decide to transfer to a 4-year institution, they're going to go in with a lot more knowledge and armor than they would if they just start off at a 4-year institution. So then when they go there, they're able to navigate a space, get their license, and be more marketable than a four-year institution teacher would be. That makes sense?
Yeah, that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't take
really,
my
really good.
ideas. Don't take my ideas.
We might take that one. We'll credit you though.
No,
We'll
no,
credit
no,
you.
no, 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 no.
So we're going to wrap up soon. I wanted to, ask you if there's anything I didn't ask. What is it that you would want us to know?
I mean, I don't know. I think, just got to enjoy life, have fun, right? I mean, that's, we only live, we live every day, we die once, so, I tell kids, just live your dream out, just keep moving, have fun, even Teddy Bear said, have fun, just, it's easier said than done, particularly when you're in that situation where you feel like you're in a dark place and, you're in a box and you feel like you're never going to get out and you feel like, the world's just crumbling on your shoulders and you feel like you're less than and you just, you feel, broken. Your spirit and your soul is just broken. It's dark and that's not a good place to be. And so, I just try to share my story with kids and try to let them know that, they're not alone. Even at 43, I struggle in some areas and I have to, practice things more than once. I got to read out loud. I got to maybe read with a partner. I have to, have a conversation about things, which is okay. Like I'm human. I don't know everything. I don't try to portray like I know everything. And so, I think with kids and as teachers, it's okay to be vulnerable. Like it's okay to tell kids, look, I don't know everything. What I do know is that you have a gift. And I do know that you can be successful. And I do know that I want to find you the right services. Like the teachers did for me. Everyone said, look, this doesn't work. I'm going to try something else. They didn't just stop and say, you know what, Sean, you're a throwaway, good luck, bye. They kept at it, persistence. And so, I don't know. I just think, people got to do more listening instead of talking over people. I don't think a lot of people listen to each other. It doesn't matter if you're on the left side, right side, up, down, whatever. It's like, we all want what's best for our kids. We want what's best for a generation of kids. We want what's best to fix this broken system that's broken for centuries. And so how can we fix it? And it starts with honest dialogue. It starts with good listening. But again, if four institutions don't want to work with you, go to community college. Like be innovative. Like think, okay, I'm gonna go to social services. I'm gonna go different tracks. I'm gonna go to school. Well, why not school counseling? Like I had a master's in school counseling. So when I did a year and I really worked with the students with Orton Gillingham, like students that were always come to my office that were, the trouble kids or the behavior kids. I just put in my office, hey, we're gonna do a lesson of Orton Gillingham. And so why not school counselors? They can be innovative, right? They are funnels to teachers, they're funnels to, colleges. They can help students, navigate college applications, colleges may help them in terms of their, learning disabilities. So I think it's just building partnerships. You just got to find the right people. You just got to keep working. You just can't give up. Choo, 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 choo. You just got to be a little trained. Like, I know it sounds, goofy, but I mean, that's really what it is. Just, you just got to keep moving. If you get stuck, you just keep your feet and keep pushing, just till you get out the mud. And but I tell people the greatest thing that Dr. Nash gave me was allow me to crack the code, and he taught me how to put the pieces together with phonemic units, and really taught me how to really understand and appreciate language and linguistics. And I think that's what kids need. Once you teach them that, the art and the skill, and really understand how they are a construction worker. So think about the word construct, right? Construction, reconstruction. Like if we can have them think about that they are constructing words by sounds, by syllables, by meaning, the light just clicks. And the very first word he taught me how to spell phonetically when I'm 18, I'm coming out of high school at elementary level, was monochromatism. Like monochromatism, like what? Why are you teaching me a word that I have no idea? But what it did was it gave me confidence how to attack multi-syllable words. It gave me appreciation for language. And so that's what it did. It just gave me allowed me to be proficient and advanced in my control of my language and control of my decoding and encoding, and just really, you know, gave me the tools I needed to be able to, you know, open up a dictionary and back mark a word and be like, boom, I know it. I know how to spell it. And so, I don't know, but I'm done. It's all you, Julie. You're the MC now. I'm sure. I'm sure the audience is like, no, be quiet. It's all you now. I'm gonna let you speak.
No, Dr. Robinson, this was just spectacular. We really can't thank you enough. Thank you as well to everyone who tuned in, and you know, we'll have this. We'll figure out. Yeah, go ahead.
Again, I'm not trying to sell anything to anybody. I'm just putting it out there. You know, one of the reasons my wife and I wrote the book too was to make it accessible and affordable for families. And one of the ultimate goals is to provide a scholarship to the International Dyslexia Association. And so we're able to give them 20% of our proceeds. We got to sell 3,000 more books. And I'm not asking people to go out and buy it. It's not soliciting anything. I'm not, you know, trying to solicit anything. But if you can help get these last 3,000 books sold, so we can give the IDA the check for a scholarship, that would be greatly appreciative. But again, I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm not a car salesman. I'm not trying to solicit anything. I'm just telling people the background of why we decided to give that 20% to the IDA to start a scholarship for families, to particularly that can help them with maybe to tutoring costs. But ideally, we just want to give the IDA you know, the 20%. The books are only $5. So if you have $5 you can spare to buy a book and give it to a kid, I appreciate it. If not, I understand too.
Yeah, no, thank you for mentioning that. We're going to have it available as well. You know, we'll make that available, and I would highly recommend anyone watching would get it, especially if you have dyslexic children or you know anyone that you think is, because graphic novels have been an explosion of reading for our children. So they absolutely love it, and it really does speak to them. So I agree. There's many reasons to buy it, and I know you've made it, you know, even the price accessible to people, because that was a big part of your mission as well. So thank you so much. You're so easy to talk to and interview. This was like a dream, a dream interview. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who is watching. You know, we love you, Dr. Robinson. Can't wait to have you here in person.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.